What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means? It's time for One-Off Wednesday! No, I will not be adding the air horn sound effect. I'm doing it with my mouth. You can deal with it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, this is just something I do every week, my creative outlet. And if you are a returner, thanks for coming back. Either way, if you haven't already, please subscribe. That'll help me out the most. But without further ado, let's get into the one-off.
The Wavemaker and the Unsinkable Girl by Jonathan Howe. Read to you by Jonathan Howe. In this world, change comes at us in waves. Those we deem most successful are the ones who ride the waves expertly, adapting to whatever life throws at them. I am different. I don't fear the waves of change because I direct them. I, Felipe, am a Wavemaker. With my cool intro out of the way, I should make some clarifications. First is that the title of Wavemaker on my world is really more like a job title. I am one of the best in the world, but it's still just the same as trying to dramatically say, I am a lifeguarder. Second is that despite my intro, I don't control the waves of life and destiny, but the actual waves. How, you ask? With C Shaper, of course. That's the name I gave to my guitar. With enough practice or natural talent, you too could be a Wavemaker. At that point, all you would need is a Teacot enhanced guitar, modified with crystals that give control over nature, and you're good to go. Just play a sick guitar riff and you'll have surfers shredding waves. To be a good Wavemaker, however, it takes much more finesse. I have that finesse, which is why I was asked to play for the World Surfing Championships. It was a huge honor, so obviously I accepted, but little did I know how much fun it would be for me. The fun started when I got the song choices from the finalists a few months out. Even though I could learn them all in about a week, the competition wanted me to really understand the songs, as it helped Wavemakers translate them into waves. One contestant's choices stood out in particular. Her songs had wild guitar parts that threw the sea into turmoil. Even through the chaotic waves, there was clearly direction, but they were not songs written for surfing, but songs written from the heart. It was her first year, so I thought it was a rookie mistake. But when I brought it up to the officials, her response came back acknowledging the risks and wishing to proceed. Months later, I had all the songs down to an art, and the day had arrived. Before the competition began, it was common practice for the contestants to meet up with the Wavemaker to discuss strategy. In these competitions, the contestants wanted me as their ally, which meant I needed to be informed. Her interview was somewhere in the middle. I don't remember what order, but I remembered her. She strode in with confidence, bare feet displaying a wide toe spread, dark tan skin from battling the sun daily, and a walk that screamed surfer. Through all of the distinct features, the first thing that caught my attention was her eyes. When I first made eye contact, it was like a wave sweeping over me. The churning power being contained in her gaze was quite literally staggering. Next, I noticed all those other details, and finally, her smile. "Thanks for being our Wavemaker," she said. "My name's Iolana." "So you're native?" I asked. She nodded. "I grew up on the little island, but I've surfed all over. I did my wave-making training on the Outlier a few years back." She looked impressed. "The waters there are not easy to control. The spirits must like you." I smiled. "They don't like me. They like my music. It's why I play instead of surf." She laughed. "Then let's hope they like my song choices and your music together." I paused, trying to breach the subject tactfully. Iolana looked at me curious, so I caved and just spit it out. "About your song choices," I began. She sighed in understanding, but didn't interrupt me. "It's customary for me to recommend which of your songs I think is best, and, well, they all suck," she finished. I pursed my lips. "I wouldn't put it that way, but yeah." She giggled. "Don't worry, Wavemaker. I trust you not to kill me. You can call me Felipe, and I'm more than capable of not killing you. My concern is for your performance. You only get one shot with any of these songs." "Felipe?" She cut me off. I stopped speaking and met her gaze. The raging sea behind them gave her words power. "I want you to play this song," she indicated her pick, "and you need to try your hardest to knock me out." "Knock you out?" She nodded, firm. "I don't think you understand." I checked the song she'd picked just to be sure. It was the most difficult one. "I could kill you with this." "I don't think you understand," she replied confidently. "There isn't a wave on Malera I can't surf." She stared me down, challenging me to object. In the face of her glare, I backed down. "I'll do what I can," I said begrudgingly. She beamed, intensity from a moment completely washed away. Awesome! Now, which of my songs did you enjoy learning the most? That year's competition was stiff. I'd been keeping an eye on the years past, mainly for other Wavemakers, but it meant I understood the sport. Iolana had a middle seed, meaning she didn't go first. The people who before her brought everything they had, absolutely killing the competition. Scoring was based on multiple factors, including song choice difficulty, routine, and technique. Overall points in each category were tallied up, and each competitor was given a score out of 100. The lowest score before Iolana had an 87. She stepped onto the platform that took the surfer, Wavemaker, and crew out to the starting point. It was hooked to a rail track with ultra-high-tech stabilization in order for the best playing experience. As it sped along, Iolana approached me. "You ready?" I asked. "Always. Are you ready to try knocking me off?" Honestly, you were the first person in my few years of wave making to ask me that. I wouldn't be surprised if you were my last. She grinned, that captivating grin of hers, and watched the natural waves for the rest of the ride out. When the platform stopped, she paddled out about 50 meters. It was the distance where TCOT speakers could be easily heard, yet she'd still have room to maneuver. I sat in my chair, put my foot up on my stand, and placed C Shaper in my lap. I strummed once, then gave each string a quick retune. My customary preparations out of the way, I looked out to Iolana. She raised her hand, giving the signal. The crew turned on the speakers and the camera started rolling. An announcer gave a quick intro, including Iolana's name and song choice. While she did, I got into playing position, flexing my fingers. The announcement ended. "Here we go," I said to myself. Tap, 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 big strum. I launched into the song, throwing my heart and soul into the piece as I did with every song. Iolana's choice had a killer intro with lots of picking and fast-moving line, all being driven by a steady backing. The ocean responded to my song, leaping almost immediately into action. Iolana had just enough time to mount the wave before the wave tried to throw her. Despite the initial chaos, I was surprised to watch her ride the wave with ease. She took the frothing wave by the horns and allowed herself to be guided. Even at one point when the wave sent her up, she took the motion in stride, flipping a 180 and sliding easily back down the front of the wave. When the first verse hit, the wave calmed down some with the song. This part would be the most predictable and the best time for deliberate tricks. Apparently, Iolana thought the same because she launched into a clear routine. I could hear the announcer complimenting Iolana's form and technique, but I pushed it out, focusing on my song, my wave, and the person riding it. As a wave maker, I could make or break someone's performance. Every little note, every accidental tap could be translated into the wave. That didn't happen because any wave maker picked to play for the World Championships played perfectly. I played perfectly. When I played, something in me seemed to connect with the waters, almost like I could feel what it was to be a part of the wave. I could feel someone surfing, predict their movements, and add little adjustments to help them out. "I want you to try to knock me out," Iolana's words rang in my head. I shook my head, feeling where she was heading. I threw in an extra lick, which put a ripple in the wave. Iolana used it to do a small hop. I grinned and threw in another extra bump. She used it too. Something inside me, a small, almost non-existent competitive bone, had been picked. I looked out to the wave as the pre-chorus came, grinning devilishly. She wants a challenge, I thought, fingers instinctively playing the whole while. The song picked up and Iolana went back into survival mode, just riding the wave. When the chorus hit, an intense portion much like the intro, I began adding more chaos. All of it worked within the song. I am a great wave maker for a reason, but any other person would have fired me. Iolana jumped on the challenge. She rode the wave, adapting to every little change as if they'd always been part of the song. My eyes bulged as the camera got a good look at her face, which was difficult amongst the turmoil. "She's singing along," I thought, incredulous. Through her delighted smile, I could clearly see her mouthing the words to the song. She's taking every change with such ease because she knows this song by heart. I looked back down as the chorus was wrapping up. I racked my brain for anything I could do to throw the girl. There's always that, I thought, but ignored the voice in my brain. The technique in question wasn't really fair. Then Iolana looked directly at the camera and winked. She winked. The commentator noticed, spewing some nonsense about a message to her fans, but I knew what it meant. Fine then, I thought, starting my idea I'd discarded just a moment earlier. It started with one note. I wove it in so it sounded like a mistake, but as I played perfectly. Then a second and a third. The wave responded almost as if it was confused. Instead of the calm second verse she'd been expecting, Iolana was getting a choppy, confused mess. All in all, she took it quite competently. Fourth note, fifth note, sixth, I looked down, launching into a full improv mashup. I'd taken one of her other songs with a similar enough feel and found openings to throw in the piece. Soon I was switching back and forth easily, weaving together a completely new song. While mashups were not illegal, they weren't common as they often made for unfavorable waves. This one was no exception. The wave moved like a newly walking animal. It barreled forward, then slowed suddenly. It lurched, almost as if losing balance, and it tried to throw Iolana. Keyword being tried. Iolana gritted her teeth, took a low stance, and rode the wave. When it lurched, she cut with it. When it threw her up, she spun and landed. Iolana rode the wave as if she knew its every move and had a cool trick or pose for each one. There isn't a wave on Melara I can't surf, her voice rang out in my head. The wave threw her up again, and for a moment the camera caught her eyes. They shone, more alive than I'd ever seen. No matter what I do, I realized, there's no way I can throw her off this wave. With that realization in mind and the end of the song drawing near, I stopped working to throw her and started working to elevate her performance. I used changes in the mashup to give Iolana opportunities for jumps. I gave her some nice tunnels to surf through, and by the end of the song, as she neared the shore, I gave her one large final wave to ride in. The wave passed us by as the platform slowed down. Iolana caught the camera one more time, wearing the largest grin I'd ever seen. Immediately after, I had to reassure the announcer and judges that Iolana asked for the unprecedented wave. Not explicitly, I thought, but if her look means anything, she'll back me up. When the next competitor stepped onto the platform, I had to reassure them that I wasn't going to change anything up. And I didn't. I played perfectly. My trust reestablished, the rest of the competition went on without a hitch. Our platform came in the final time, I put Sea Shaper in its case and walked ashore. Iolana waited for me. "That was insane!" she exclaimed, running and throwing her arms around me. She bounced with excitement, squeezing me tightly. "You're insane," I complimented. "I literally made an impromptu mashup, and you wrote it like you'd heard the song 100 times. She smiled at the ground, blushing ever so slightly. "I'd say we make a pretty good team." "I don't think you're wrong," she giggled. "What kind of answer was that?" "An okay one," I replied. She smiled. "Well, if you want, my friends and family are having dinner later. You could join us." When the winner was announced, no one was surprised it was Iolana, least of all me. In the weeks to come, there was some discourse on whether her win should be attributed to my playing or not, but I knew that was all her. Those we deem most successful are the ones who ride the waves expertly, adapting to whatever life throws at them. Iolana is one of those people.
That was a good one. I really love this one. Wavemaker and the Unsinkable Girl. I can talk more in the Q&A, but a quick kind of idea is just whenever I listen to music, sometimes it feels like a wave moving through me. And so if you heard the story, you'll understand the inspiration. And I just kind of was imagining what if someone was playing guitar, controlling those waves. If you were a fan of any type of like classical guitar playing, you'll know it's cool as heck. It's like, I'm looking at that camera, I know one of my friends is watching, you're cool as heck, you know that. Like, it's so awesome. And so I just kind of combined those with a little bit of magic and an interesting story between two people. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. Remember to subscribe, and thanks for watching.